So I told you about the PHEVs being a short range. We think that because of the battery costs, that EVs will be a shorter range. Actually, if you start looking at the battery costs and if you have a pack that you want to last 10 or 15 years, it gets pretty expensive. And so somewhere about 100 miles range, fuel cells start to be less expensive than battery applications, somewhere in that area. Okay. So we see that the EVs are the smaller range, maybe 100 miles is about the upper limit on that, maybe a little more. That plug-in hybrids are mid-range for us, best for suburban commuting because you've got low speed, high speed, much like you're driving here. Fuel cells will be great for long distance. And I think that you're going to continue to see advanced internal combustion engines, very advanced internal combustion engines. Maybe we'll get low carbon fuels, maybe algae to gasoline or something like that. And that's a technology that we actually can do and can bring it to the market with no regrets and no excuses. So I think that's it now. That's it. Questions? Answers?
The PHEV battery pack has got a lot of temperature sensing and cooling.
Yeah, we do. Tons of it.
What if you detect a hot spot?
We got safety systems to shut that down.
So you work around that part?
No. If you get a cell that starts getting out of, we condition everything, but if you've got a cell that's getting out, then you've got a problem. You need to take care of that.
We're going to try to get everybody on mic before we answer questions.
Hi, Bill. Steve Ashley.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about whether how you feel that the cost of the cells will go down. Is it basically volume manufacturing? Is it amenable to the kind of work that people have done previously to battery manufacturing processes? And do they have to be standardized so that people can make the large volumes? In other words, similar product.
I don't see that cells are going to be standardized because I think that you'll look at various OEMs having a cell configuration, whether it's prismatic or tubular, however you're going to do it, as being part of their intellectual property, okay, and their chemistries too. There's a lot of variation in there, so I don't see.
Is the volume for one company though big enough to?
That's an interesting question. Is it? I don't know, and it's not really the materials cost. And you're going to hear from Jay Whitaker today, and he's really good at doing that. But given the yield, you want 5 nines yield, well, you're not going to get it. You've got a clean room stuff you're going on, and so it's quite expensive, and you've got to have this headroom, larger pack, because you do have a shelf life on lithium, and especially if you leave it charged, and you're there, there's a big shelf life. So. That's a problem. I mean, even if you've got the individual cell cost down to say $200 a kilowatt hour, which is a big ask, your pack cost with all the nanny stuff, all the cooling and all the instruments and stuff like that could be a couple times, maybe even 3 times higher. So it's a big ask. And remember, as those pack prices come down, the hybrid packs come down too. Not as much because it's a different chemistry. I'm afraid of your question, Mr. Hall.
Oh, come on, Bill.
No, you teach me, I don't teach you.
You were talking about over-battering when you're using lithium for the next user.
Yeah.
Okay. When you do that, doesn't that automatically constrain what you can and can't do, even on a plug-in the way you guys are doing it? You're using a smaller battery, but you still have to be concerned about cell deterioration over that period.
Yes.
So do you end up with a battery that deteriorates faster from a standpoint of percent loss over life cycle?
That's not incorrect. That's all I'm saying. Look, we're all playing with this, trying to figure out what the best way to do it is. And Jay's going to come up with a really provocative thing, or the guys at Carnegie Mellon, that you would design a very small battery pack, forget the state of charge, do 100% state of charge swing, and wear it out quickly, and consider it disposable. Yeah, Carnegie Mellon is really brilliant about this stuff, man. Those guys are really good electrochemists.
So would you use multiples of that battery then in a unit?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, like the tires.
Yeah, all right.
And that's what Tesla says, but their battery pack's $20,000, and I own a Porsche, and I put lots of experience tires.
But you buy the laptops to get a battery, so it's an inefficient system.
Okay. Yeah.
Putting aside the technology for a minute, what do you know about how consumers, especially in your early adopters and target markets, value the experience of pure electric driving versus blended mode?
The early stuff coming out of UC Davis and out of Google Recharge It is that they value the electric driving and not so much the blended mode. I don't know how many people there are. Would they fit in this room? Maybe or maybe not. I don't know. No, I'm serious. I mean, I don't mean to beg the question. Those are the very early adopters, and that's great. And they helped us launch the Prius and stuff. But you know, you got to cross a chasm one of these days if you're going to make these in $20,000, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000. You got to cross that chasm. And do they all value the electric mode, or do they really care about the results, which is fuel economy or lower cost of operation?
What's your view on lithium batteries for conventional non-plug-in hybrids? Are there a lot of benefits? Do you see it going in that direction? And you know, sort of the use of lithium for power versus energy?
I'm unconvinced yet that we've seen the end of nickel metal hydride for just power applications. I think that you know, I think our Prius family and the Toyota family of hybrids works well, and I don't think any of you have ever written a story about the failure of Toyota battery chemistry. You might have written other stories, but not that story.
So even down the road, 5 years?
You know what? I've bet 5 years, and I've always lost that bet.
Bill, just to follow up on the blended versus EV mode for vehicles.
Yeah.
The thing that differentiated the Prius in the market, other than the styling, was that it, compared to its other competitive hybrid, the Civic, it operated, I had an extended EV mode by comparison to the Civic. Mm-hmm. And with your Prius buyers, you haven't found any value to that compared to the Civic, or not? Because I mean, isn't that sort of an indication of the desire to have that mode in the vehicle? Because you guys have just flat out sold the Civic.
I think there's a lot of reasons for that, and I think the blended mode versus an all-electric mode is a small little part of that. Because come on, I mean, I can't get to the end of my block, and I'm going downhill in the you know, in the all-electric mode. You know, truthfully, you know, and you start the car up in cold weather, and you got the defroster running and all that other stuff, and so that mode in the Prius is too tiny to really make a judgment on that. I think it's basically. The Prius is a pretty phenomenal package in the Gen 3 Prius, and the greatest thing I've seen is some of the guys that were up at the launch up in Napa Valley got out of the car, and they said it's a great car that happens to be a hybrid. High praise. High praise.
What's the thinking about pure IC cars? Said like this, yeah.
Yeah, I think that the advances we're seeing from just the mechanical engineers, the guys that everybody forgets about and doesn't care about anymore, but still make the world work. I think that the stuff that they're doing, the Jim Halls of the world, that kind of stuff, is underappreciated, and those cars are getting so good so fast. And if we get a little bit of carbon out of the fuels, that they make it really, really hard for, and they set the hurdle so high for the other types of applications to go there. And it's kind of a shame because, you know, when we talk about advanced transportation, we talk about a battery application or electrochemical application, and we don't talk about advanced ICs like as though we're almost embarrassed that technology is still around. It's around and it's really improving rapidly. Diesels are lowering their compression ratio. ICs, internal combustions, are raising. Spark igniters raising theirs.